from the start of training camp all the way up until now. And I'm here to tell you the Indiana Fever biggest issue is Stephanie White. No doubt about it. I feel like she's not a good leader to help them make it to that next level. F do not lie. Men lie, women, numbers don't. But the film, there is an ancient, undeniable proverb in the world of professional sports. It is a law of basketball physics that has been preached by every legendary coach from John Wooden to Pat Riley to Don Staley. You play exactly how you practice. The Indiana Fever front office and their social media team thought they were doing themselves a massive favor. In the middle of the absolute total chaos following their humiliating opening night loss to the Dallas Wings, they released practice footage. The goal was obvious. They wanted to calm the fan base down. They wanted to show the world that the team was working hard, grinding in the gym, and fixing their mistakes. But instead of calming the fans down, the footage completely backfired. It did the exact opposite. Because highly educated basketball fans do not just look at the shiny edited slam dunks and the smiling faces. They look at the footwork. They look at the communication. They look at the intensity. And what the practice footage actually revealed is a terrifying structural lack of discipline at the very core of the Indiana Fever organization. You are watching WNBA Pro, and today we are taking you inside the gym. We are going to break down the practice film that exposes exactly why Stephanie White's defense gave up 107 points. We are going to show you the country club mentality that is infecting this roster. And we are going to explain why Caitlin Clark is physically breaking down trying to carry a team that refuses to go 100% in practice. Let us start with the most glaring, unforgivable sin captured on camera. The sheer lack of defensive accountability back here doing nothing. Now granted, this isn't the whole practice, but to me it's a lot of people walking around. They're joking, they're playing. This is like an undisciplined basketball team. Every time you see Stephanie White, she's standing around clapping, cheering, not coaching, looking very undisciplined. Now, what I'm going to start doing, and everybody else probably is going to copy this, I know they is. When you watch practice footage of a legitimate championship contender like the Las Vegas Aces or the New York Liberty, the intensity is absolutely suffocating. The practices are often harder than the actual games. Players are diving on the floor. Defenders are fighting through heavy screens. If a player blows a defensive rotation, the head coach immediately blows the whistle, stops the entire scrimmage, and screams at the players until they get it right. But when you watch the Indiana Fever practice footage, it looks like a casual Sunday morning shoot-around at the local YMCA. You see players lightly jogging through offensive sets. You see guards going under screens without any sense of urgency. You see players standing flat-footed on defense with their hands down at their sides. There is absolutely zero resistance. It is a completely sterile, low-intensity environment. And the most terrifying part, Stephanie White is standing on the sideline watching this lazy, undisciplined execution. And she is not blowing the whistle. She is not stopping the play. She is not holding anyone accountable. When a head coach accepts mediocre effort in a closed practice, she is officially giving her players permission to give mediocre effort on national television. Earlier today, another one. Where's Stephanie White? Standing there scratching her head. She's scratching her head, literally scratching her head. She do not know what she's doing. This is what she's literally doing, scratching her head, not coaching. Bro, I keep telling you. And there's more. Stephanie White is running a country club, not a professional basketball boot camp. Remember the post-game press conference? Remember when she threw her players under the bus and said, "Sometimes we were over-rotated. Sometimes we had coverage breakdowns. We were not getting back in transition defense." Well, Stephanie, we just watched the practice footage. The reason your players are blowing coverages and failing to get back in transition is because you are not forcing them to run transition drills at game speed during practice. If a player fails to sprint back on defense during a scrimmage, an elite coach puts them on the baseline and makes them run suicides until their lungs burn. An elite coach builds a culture of absolute terror around lazy transition defense. But the Indiana Fever practice footage shows a team that is completely comfortable making mistakes. There is no fear of the coach. There is no consequence for a blown assignment. It is a culture of toxic positivity where everyone gets a participation trophy even when the defense is statistically ranked at the absolute bottom of the league. And nobody is suffering from this lack of discipline more than the franchise engine herself. Yeah, so we might do that. And for us too, just managing minutes early. Like we don't want to gas out, our players, and we probably did that in the second half. We probably should have went back to our rotations a little bit quicker, in short minutes. So, just for starters, how did you feel about look closely at Caitlin Clark during these practice clips? Watch her body language. Caitlin Clark operates at one speed, 100 mph. Her brain processes basketball geometry faster than anyone else on the floor. When she runs the pick and roll, she expects her teammates to set bone-crushing screens and roll to the basket with absolute explosive violence. But because Stephanie White has allowed a culture of low-intensity discipline to fester, Caitlin is constantly passing the ball to spaces where her teammates should be, only to find out they jogged the route. She is trying to throw hyper-speed transition passes, but her wings are casually jogging up the floor instead of sprinting to the corners. Caitlin Clark is literally driving a Formula One race car in a school zone. And this is exactly why she is physically breaking down. This is exactly why she needs in-game back adjustments. Because when the rest of the team is undisciplined and lazy, the superstar has to overcompensate. She has to work twice as hard to generate offense. She has to carry the mental and physical burden of a roster that simply refuses to match her intensity. You cannot pair a generational hyper-competitive psychopath like Caitlin Clark with a coaching staff that embraces the everybody chill philosophy. It is a recipe for complete structural collapse.
Our unanimous player of the year is going to take the mic. Take it away, Caitlin Clark.
So we'll do more in practice today, and then we'll again evaluate after every day. I know that it's a boring answer, but it's the thing that we do when you come back from injury. It's like you go through a practice, you add a little bit more, you see how you are post-practice, you see how you are the next day, and then we evaluate. It really literally is one day at a time. You mentioned with Caitlin and just the adjustments during the game, that kind of being an ongoing thing. Could you just expand upon that? Is like an injury related or just kind of just basic maintenance? No, it's basic maintenance. And I think when you think about the expansion of medical teams in the W, it's like Caitlin better not be hurt. She bet not be hurt. She's special team. Like you have more hands on and more people on duty and more hands on deck. And you can go back and you can get regular maintenance adjustments. So, I believe this year Caitlin possibly brought in her own doctor. The fans are wide awake. They see right through the carefully edited social media videos. They saw the lack of communication in the practice gym, and they instantly recognized it when Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull ran into each other on defense against the Dallas Wings. They saw the lack of boxing out during the rebounding drills. And they instantly recognized it when the Fever gave up massive offensive rebounds in overtime. The 107 points allowed on opening night was not a fluke. It was not a bad shooting night. It was the direct, undeniable mathematical result of a poorly run, undisciplined training camp. If the Indiana Fever want to save this season, if they want to protect Caitlin Clark's back, and if they want to stop the economic bleeding of $19 tickets, they have to completely change the culture inside that gym. Stephanie White needs to stop being a friend and start being a dictator. She needs to blow the whistle. She needs to demand absolute perfection in the defensive rotations, and she needs to bench anyone who refuses to sprint in transition, regardless of their veteran status or their salary. And ball screen defense. Those are two areas that were glaring weaknesses in Game 1. And so we're going to continue to work on that. What's it for you guys going on the road for the first time this season? What's the mindset or the mentality as you guys get a chance to go out to LA and try to get your first win of the season? Just continue to get better, get 1% better every day. We want to clean up some of the things that we had breakdown-wise on the defensive end against Dallas, and we'll look to clean it up against LA with the defensive breakdowns in transition. Is that just maybe what do you chalk that up to? Is it fatigue? Is it just players still getting up to speed? How do you do that? I think it's quite a few things. One, I think it's awareness. If you got either offensive rebound or you got to get back, get matched up. I think two, it's the honeymoon is over. The preseason hype is dead. We are now in the brutal reality of the regular season where lazy practices get you humiliated on national television. This is WNBA Pro. We do not just look at the box scores. We look at the culture. We look at the discipline, and we tell you the absolute truth. I want you to flood the comment section right now. Do you believe the Indiana Fever have a country club mentality? Is Stephanie White too soft on her players during practice? And do you think Caitlin Clark is getting exhausted because her teammates refuse to match her intensity? I want every single unfiltered opinion down below. Smash that subscribe button to join the most educated basketball community.